Okay, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday. I can't believe it's already June 20th. Um, let's just jump right in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gretchen. I am a certified life coach. I teach a stress management class at a university, and I'm a wellness advocate and a mom of three. And I'm here to help you guys build your businesses. Um, I was actually going to teach a class today, but I just had the thought to share the self-coaching model with you guys. So let's do that. So if you guys are finding yourself stuck, I'm going to do the whiteboard. I'm not quite sure how this works because I've never done it. It's fine, I guess. Sorry. Okay. Okay. No. Oh, I'll figure it out. It's fine. I'll do that again. Um, just do presenting. Shouldn't click the X. Okay. Okay. Can we do text? Here we go. So, all right. So I'm going to share with you guys. So I am a certified life coach with the Life Coach School, and I work with clients. I help them on weight loss. I help them on learning to heal past traumas. I help them, really what I help them do is understand what they're feeling and learn how to process that, and learn how to change the results in their lives. So, and I'm going to show you guys that. So if you guys find yourself that you're struggling um, with just being stuck, right? Like stuck in fear, stuck in confusion in terms of really anything in your life, but in terms of your doTERRA business, I want to show you guys something that can help. So this is called the self-coaching model. And again, this is something that I use with my clients. And this is, so I found this model in 2020 after I'd lost 90 pounds. And I'd spent the previous 20 years trying to lose weight, being somewhat successful, not successful, like all the whole thing, right? And I always got to a point where it was like I would be holding on, like we call it white knuckling it, right? Like just holding on for dear life. And all of these emotions that I had stuffed over the years would be coming up. And then I couldn't handle it because I thought at the time that I was going to die if I felt those emotions. And so I would run to the pantry because that's my coping mechanism, is to eat. And so when that stopped working, I would go and I would lay in my bed and be on my phone or overwatch some sort of show, right? Like ignoring everything. And eventually I was just numb and kind of miserable, not kind of, pretty miserable, and depressed and all these things. And I was able to come across this model because I found a business coach. I was doing another business who used the model. And as soon as she started like talking to me about it, I was like, this is what I've been searching for years. And so I'm going to show you why. So we all have circumstances in our lives, right? Right? These things are the facts of our lives. They are the things that we can prove in a court of law. And it's things that we all agree on, right? So an example of this right now would be I'm wearing a sweatshirt, right? The collar folds over. I have reddish, blondish, brownish hair, right? My eyes, this is debatable with my husband, but my eyes are blue, right? Like my dog is laying down below me, stretched out, right? My dishes are dirty. I live in Utah, right? You guys live in India. Right now it's almost 8:45 p.m. where you're at on Tuesday, right? So it's all the things outside of us that we can't control, but it's things that we all agree on. The sky is blue, right? My wife or husband or partner says words to me. My child is drinking, right? Whatever it is, those are things outside of us that we can't control. And they're all neutral. They have no meaning attached to it. And I'm going to talk about what that means in just a second, right? So if we're putting this into a model, I'm going to come down here a bit. Since we're building doTERRA businesses, right? One of the circumstances, you have to ask people to try out the oil, right? Okay. And so often in our lives, like we've been taught that it's other people that make us feel things, which isn't true. We're the ones that create that feeling. I don't know if you guys can hear my son, he's singing downstairs. And oftentimes things happen in our lives and we automatically have a response. At least we think we automatically have a response, right? So for me, like stepping on the scale and seeing a certain number, I would automatically feel shame, right? And so I'm like, it's the number that's causing that. It's my weight that's causing it, right? But what we don't realize is that in between the circumstances and the feelings, right? There's a space. If anybody is familiar with Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits, he talks about there's a space in between the situations, right? Or the circumstances in our lives and our ability to respond. And that's our respondability, right? So this is where our thoughts go, right? And our thoughts are everything else, right? Things that we can't prove are true. They're not facts. They're things that we don't all agree on. And those thoughts are what create our feelings, right? So if, as we're building our doTERRA businesses, right, we have told ourselves that we're going to ask one person to try an oil today. Okay. And the thought is, well, let's go to the feeling first. Excuse me. The feeling is fear, right? That's the first thing, right, that comes up. There's lots of other things too. So when we're trying to figure out our thoughts, most often we feel the feeling first before we understand the thought. And so you can ask yourself, why do I think I'm feeling this? Right? And what would be some of your answers, right? Like asking somebody, or let's try this, asking somebody to join you as a builder. Right? So let's say it's your neighbor. Let's say it's somebody who owns a salon, right? You want to ask one person to join you as a builder in doTERRA, right? And some of the thoughts are, I mean, I get scared. So I'm going to put scared. Right. And some of the thoughts that I'm having are like, what are they going to think of me? What if they don't like me? Right. So, and we need to turn our thoughts into statements. So, it could be like, they'll stop being my friend, or, I'm just trying, they're going to stop liking me. Right. So right? And so if you're feeling scared, right? Ask yourself, why do I think, um, sorry, my son is distracting me. You want to ask yourself, why do I think I'm feeling this? And for me, the thought is they're going to stop liking me, right? Like they're going to think something about me. Yeah. Okay. And it could be anything, right? They're gonna think I'm pushy. They're gonna think this. They're gonna think that, right? Like whatever it is. Um, and then I want to ask myself, do I is like when I think this thought, do I still feel scared, right? And so you just want to check in with yourself. And for me right now, it's like anxiety. That's kind of what's coming up. So I'm feeling anxious. Okay. So our feelings are what drive our actions, right? Or our behaviors, the things we do or don't do. Okay. So for me, when I feel anxious, there's a lot of things that happen. So the things that I do, well, let's talk about the things I don't do. I don't reach out, right? I don't ask. I avoid things by doing, I do other things, right? I try to do um, passive action things like learning more, learning more about the oils. I try to give me a second. I try to sorry, it's just my son. I try to like tell myself that I need to learn more, right? So passive action things for me would be like um doing more trainings, right? Participating in more trainings. Just really doing things that don't move me forward. It's me doing the busy things. So I can tell myself I'm actually doing something, right? Um, what else don't I do? I'm trying to think back. When I feel anxious, I eat to try and calm down. Sometimes I shut down, right? Um, End up in my bed. Um, okay, it's right there. I end up in my bed. Um, Sometimes there's anxious. What do I do? I put avoid in there. I try to avoid. Um, I mean, I don't get things done, right? I don't get things done. Even like the dishes, like if it's like basically I'll do everything else except what I want to do, right? Which is ask somebody to join me as a builder. So, and what ends up happening is our behaviors are creating the results in our lives, right? So by me not reaching out, by not asking, by avoiding, by I would say up here to like disregarding myself, And that's in the sense of like, I have a nudge to ask somebody and I like convince myself not to, right? Like, no, that's not true. But when I do that, when we do that, we're going against our own intuition. And that kills us a little bit. That like a part of us dies a little bit when we do that. And so eventually, if we do that enough, we're just an empty shell. And we're in a place of self-betrayal. Right? Because when we do that, what I'm really thinking is like, I can't ask them, right? We're actually going to just stick with what I just had. So, okay. Oh, I don't reach out because I don't reach out. Or I reach out. I reach out, but it's still like people. I guess that goes in with the passive action. Like I reach out to people who I don't know and I don't have a relationship with because I tell myself, well, at least I'm reaching out, right? So the result that I'm creating here, right, by not reaching out, by not asking, by avoiding, by passive action, by doing passive action, by eating, by shutting down, ending up, right, like places on my bed, on my phone. I don't get things done. I do everything else except for what I want to do. I disregard myself. And I end up betraying myself. What ends up happening is that I become negative, right, towards myself, right? And because this is the result that I'm creating for me, right, I become negative towards myself because that's the belief I'm creating. Then I'm going to think other people are going to think the same thing. So, what I'm actually doing with this result, can you guys see that? Yeah. Is I'm reinforcing this thought that other people are going to think negative about me because I think negative about me, right? And it becomes this cycle. Sorry, I keep getting all of these phone calls. Hold on one second, guys. Hello? This is? Hi, I am good. How are you? We do need to update it, but I can't do it right this second. Um, so I did get the text, so I'm probably just gonna go online and do that and just do it that way. But I'll get it done today, I promise. Perfect. That would be great. Okay, thank you. You too. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. My debit card stuff was, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I had to like block my card. So now like nothing's working. So anyways, okay. So I think, here we go. I'm trying to get back into this. So because I create the result of being negative towards myself, right? I am reinforcing the thought that other people are going to think that I'm negative, right? And this model, we call this the unintentional model because we don't realize unintentional. We don't realize that this is what's going on, right? All we know is that, oh, I have to ask one person and I'm feeling really anxious and I don't want to feel anxious because I believe if I feel anxious, well, because I've been taught that I shouldn't feel anxious, right? Like that means something's wrong with me. And I don't want to think that. So I'm going to do all of these things. And I have to giggle because I just like I've done a lot of work with the prefrontal cortex and the subconscious part of our brain. And they're just so cute, right? Like our subconscious wants to keep us safe. It's efficient and it's built to seek reward. And so when we're in this place of this unintentional model, what we're really doing is letting our subconscious run the show. Like they're in the driver's seat because we've gotten to a place in our life where we're just in survival mode, right? Like we don't realize that we're the ones actually in control with our prefrontal cortex. Um, our prefrontal cortex is the part of our brain that sets us apart than anything else on the planet, right? It allows us to think about our thinking. It allows us to plan. It allows us to make decisions based on thinking versus based on just instinct and survival mode, right? Like we get to reason, we get to think about things, we get to decide, right? We get to decide that we don't want to do those things. And for so many of us, we're stuck in these unintentional models because we've thought this thought so many times and we've created this result, right? Whatever this result is for you. We've created that so many times that that's just the belief we have. We believe that that's true. But it's not. I'm just going to tell you it's not. Because first thing, it's none of your business what other people think. And I say that in a very loving way. People get to decide what they think about you. And they can think whatever they want, right? The only person that matters about what they think about you is you. So if you keep creating results in your life that you don't want, like your business isn't being built, or you're not getting the promotion you want, or you're in a lot of debt, right? It's because of the thoughts that you have about those things, right? So let's do a different model. Let's put in here, we're going to put debt in here. That's something my husband and I are facing right now. So I'm deciding what number to put in here. So let's just say that we'll just say $50,000 in debt, right? When I see that number, I'm just going to delete this. The feeling I feel is overwhelmed, right? That's the feeling. And I'm sure most of you feel this too. And the thought is, why do I think I'm feeling overwhelmed? This is how I figure out my thought. My thought is where, or like, I'm never going to be able to pay that off. Right? So I feel overwhelmed. And when I feel overwhelmed, when anybody feels overwhelmed, that always leads us to not doing anything. Right? So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, what do? I don't do anything. Feeling overwhelmed always leads us to inaction. Right? So I don't find solutions, right? I spend more money than I actually have. Right? I ignore it. I eat because I want it to go away. I don't talk to people about it. Right? I become secretive. Yeah. I don't talk to others about it. I ignore it. I eat. I spend more than I have. I don't find solutions, right? I don't pay my bills because I'm spending money someplace else, right? And what do you think I'm creating for myself? Right? I never pay it off. In fact, I create more debt, right? Which only, again, reaffirms, right? It reinforces, we'll do green because we're talking about money, that I'm never going to be able to pay this off, right? Do you see how that's connected? So here's what I want to tell you though. There is a way to get out of this. And that way is first, identify what it is you're feeling. Some of you might not even understand what you are feeling, right? For me, a lot of time, like I've had to take time to get to understand what overwhelm feels like in my body, what shame feels like in my body. And I just want to point out again, like, because we've been taught that our emotions, well, we've been taught that our emotions are good or bad, right? We've been taught that we can only feel the good emotions, right? The happy, the joy, the peace, the calm, the satisfied, right? All of those emotions. And we can't ever feel the bad right? The quote unquote bad emotions, the shame, the sadness, the disgust, the disappointment, the overwhelm, the anxious, right? All of those, we can't ever feel that, the anger, right? Because if we do feel those things, again, something that must mean something is wrong with us, because I have a belief that I can't feel those feelings, right? That I shouldn't feel those feelings because somebody outside of me told me that I can't feel those, right? That I shouldn't feel those. In America, for us, like one thing is like boys don't cry, right? Boys have to suck it up. Um, if you're an emotional boy, like you're not a man, right? Like those are beliefs that people are taught, which totally aren't true. Um, it's just not true. um, and we don't realize that we get to decide what we want to believe, right? And so that's why we always start with feelings when we're looking at these unintentional models that we have. We're looking at our feelings because when we know what we're feeling, then we can ask the question, why do I think I'm feeling this? Right? And you're going to get a thought that comes into your brain, right? You're going to get a thought. Your subconscious is going to tell you a thought. Well, we feel this because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't think that we're ever going to be able to pay this off. We think it's too hard, right? All of those things. And of course, that's going to lead to overwhelm. It's going to lead to shame. It's going to lead to whatever it is you're feeling, right? And then once you have that thought, you can ask yourself again, do I feel overwhelmed? Yes. No. If you don't feel overwhelmed, then put whatever it is you're feeling, right? And then ask yourself, what do I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed? Right? And then write all that down. And then what is the result that you're creating for yourself? Right? So the result that you're creating for yourself it could be a lot of different things, right? It could be, sorry, in this situation, right? Like you never pay it off. You create more debt. You give up, right? You continue to, you don't believe in yourself, right? Right? All of those things could be results that you're creating in your life. So I don't want to overwhelm you too much with this. And I can talk more about, I could talk all day about this. But this is something that I wanted to share with you guys. So and this is the work that I do with my clients. And so this is the work that I offer you all. if you're working at least 10 hours a week in your doTERRA business, that I will sit down and I provide coaching for you guys using this model, and we sit down for an hour. Um, mm, sorry. Yeah, we'll sit down for 45 minutes and we'll go over this. We'll talk about why you're stuck, why you think you're stuck, right? Like all of the things, and we'll figure out what these unintentional models are. And I'll teach you how to do this, and I'll teach you how to process those emotions and get comfortable in those emotions. Because that's the biggest thing our brain doesn't like. It doesn't like being uncomfortable, because it thinks that, or I should say our subconscious brain, it thinks that when we're uncomfortable, we're going to die. Right. And it oftentimes, not often, it will go back to those places where we understand the level of discomfort. So our subconscious brain we ultimately choose a level of discomfort that we're familiar with. Right. And so if we're not used to feeling overwhelmed or shame or even happy, our brain's going to go to it. It's going to create, it's not going to create, it's going to tell us to do things. And because we're in autopilot, we go and we do those things thinking that all kinds of stuff, like I have to obey my brain. Like we forget that we have a prefrontal cortex that allows us to be in charge of ourselves, of our subconscious brain. It allows us to make decisions about what we want to do, right? If we're feeling overwhelmed, we can change the action, right? Like, okay, anyways, I'm not going to go into that. Sorry, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I want to keep this simple for today. So back to what I was saying. I offer free coaching for you guys if you're working at least 10 hours in your doTERRA business. And this is the type of coaching that I provide. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. We can keep talking about this. I'm happy to keep talking about mindset stuff that I love. Let me know. Just let me know. And in 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks. Next week will be the end of June. So yeah, so in 2 weeks, it's our 4th of July, which is our Independence Day. So I will not be teaching on that day. And then the following week, so the week of the 11th, I won't be teaching because I'll be in Hawaii. So I will be here next week though. And then if you guys have anything that you want me to teach on, I'm happy to teach on that. And just let me know. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that's what I have for you. Let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know how I can help. And I will see you guys next week. Talk to you later. Bye.